Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna be talking about the 3 ways that you can set up your streaming PC. When I search on YouTube, there's only 2 ways, either a 1 PC setup or a 2 PC setup, and I'm gonna show you the 3rd way. A 3 PC, no I'm just kidding. It's a 1 PC setup, but then you'll see. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, let us jump right into it. What we have first is the 1 PC setup. It's the most common. It is probably the cheapest out of all 3 options. It's not probably. It is the cheapest out of all 3 options. Though it is still expensive to build a PC. It's like significantly cheaper than building 2 PCs, as I would say. So there's a few pros that you do have with a 1 PC setup. It is the easiest as everything is set up in 1 computer and everything is there. You don't have like the complicated issues of having a 2 PC setup where you have to like send the sound over and then you need a capture card and you have only 1 PC. So it's like 1 PC cheaper. And of course there are also a few cons with it being a 1 PC setup. There is like some instability. It's unstable sometimes. And there's also like a limited quality, but when you go into like OBS they show you like the high, low, and all those settings, so you do have a limited setting to what you can do. Alright, next up we have the 1 PC setup with 2 graphic cards. I know what you're thinking, why would you need 2 graphic cards? The reason that you need 2 graphic cards is because how do I explain this? Sorry, I'm trying to explain this in a way I understand, because this took me so long. I've been through this whole process. I've been through 1 PC with 2 graphic cards, and then I've been with a 2 PC setup. So the reason why with a 1 PC setup, if you get 2 graphic cards, when you are streaming like through OBS or whatever you use to stream, I'd recommend OBS. When you're streaming, depending on the quality that you use, like 1080 or like 720, whichever one that you choose, it takes a certain amount of your graphic energy as well. Energy? I don't know if that's the correct term, but it takes like some of your graphic card energy. And what that does, it splits it between your gaming and your streaming. So if you were to stream on a higher setting, maybe it'll take like 50% of your graphic card, or if you're streaming at 720, maybe 30. I don't know, it depends on your graphic card and everything that you use. That's why when you have 2 graphic cards, you can set 1 graphic card specifically only for your streaming PC. So it'll take just 100% of that, and then your main graphic card is what you would use on your for your gaming. So you'd like set it up differently. Like I'll show you in OBS how you would set that up. For me myself, the graphic card that I used was a really cheap one. It was $50 and it's a 1050 Ti, and it worked well. I used that for over 1 year before I decided to upgrade recently. The pro that I would say is to adding another graphic card is that you do split the graphic energy. So I don't know what this is called, but you split like the graphic card energy more evenly and then it would run a little bit better. But there are a couple of issues, of course. There's still that limited quality. You don't have like that full dedicated computer to go to your streaming PC. So it's not like it's all of a sudden gonna be like, oh, it's like streaming on a 2 PC. You do have a limited quality, as well as you are streaming with 2 graphic cards. So sometimes you can have some errors or there's like some crashes. I personally didn't have that much problems with it. Thinking about it, I didn't have much, but sometimes there could be that little bit of a glitch or a hiccup. I would say I liked this option. It wasn't that much more expensive than building a 2 PC, because I think it was better to upgrade just adding a graphic card rather than building a whole new PC for the 2nd PC. It's just a little bit that helps the upgrade a little bit. English, don't understand. So this is my gaming PC. This is what I used before my 2 PC setup. So with your motherboard, the only thing you have to worry about is the PCI slot. Make sure there's an extra one. So one would be for your regular graphic card, and then the one in there, do you see it? The extra one, that'll be where you put the 2nd graphic card. So this is my screen right here.
And this would be for the 2 PC setup. If you were gonna set it up, you'd have to be like go into your OBS and then go into settings and then output. And then once you go there, you can open up your task manager right here, and you would click your NVIDIA. That would be your capture card based encoding, as well as the X264 is the CPU based encoding. Once you've clicked your capture card based encoding, you would go down, and then if you see here, it says GPU 0. That's like the basic, because if you go into your task manager with one graphic card, it would go 0. But as soon as you add, I don't have another graphic card on me, but if I had another graphic card on me, it would be like GPU and then number 1. You type in number 1, and then now it would use that second graphic card as, or the second capture card as the encoder.
All right, and then the last way that you can build your streaming setup is a 2 PC setup, and that is what I have now. I did take my old graphic card when I did have the 1 PC 2 graphic card setup, and I moved it to my streaming PC. I'm getting a lot of comments, I know, but bottle capping is for gaming. I'm not gaming on it. The 2 PC setup is obviously the best option if you have that extra money. How can I put this? It's very complicated. I've had so many problems on stream, and I'm learning every day a little bit, but there's so many things. Like the audio, I didn't know that it had to be like, you had to send your audio, and then I needed like my mic to be able to send while I'm in game to talk to people in the game, right? Like there's so many little things, as well as you need a capture card, so that is a little bit more expensive. But then again, you're building a whole nother PC. I think if you build a new PC, you can afford to at least spend a couple more hundred for your graphic card. Capture card, sorry. I would say the con is that it's just so much more expensive than building a 1 PC setup. So that's a con. And also that it's really complicated to set up. There's like so many different things that's why I wanted to kind of make these kind of YouTube videos, maybe help a little bit when building the 2 PC setup. Like there's a lot of things that I didn't know, and it was so hard to search. So maybe when I figure it out, then I can make a video, and then hopefully that helps someone else. You know, pass along the torch or something, I don't know. And then the pros is that, of course, it's so stable. You have a dedicated streaming PC and a dedicated gaming PC. You don't have to split up any CPU or GPU within the 2. Another pro is that you can use the best quality in your OBS settings, as I mentioned, the high, low, medium, all those things. When you're gaming, it focuses most on the GPU. So that's what you try to upgrade. So personally, while streaming, I do prefer using the x264. That's the CPU power, rather than the NVIC GPU power or capture card power, because that is the reason why I built my streaming PC the way it is, very CPU heavy. When I did a lot of research, a lot of people do say that it is the same, or it's like very similar qualities, but I don't feel that way. In my own experiences, I do prefer using CPU. I think it runs a little bit smoother. So that's why I lean more towards the X264 while streaming. Because I play FPS games and it's very like fast moving, and like you turn corners a lot. Because I find when you don't use the CPU, it kind of looks a little pixely. But it's like very smooth, but then as soon as you turn really fast, it kind of like pixels. Of course, in the end, it depends on what you personally prefer and what game you play. Because if you're doing a just chatting, you won't need the same amount of power as you need if you're playing Rainbow Six Siege, which is what I play. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I didn't go into that much details in OBS settings, but I do plan to do that in a future video, maybe next week. So it depends on what you play, what you stream, versus the quality of your computer. It depends on your graphic card or your CPU, those kinds of things. I'll try my best to go into specifics of what you should, or what are the best settings that you can get out of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next video. Bye!
Spin my chair, human. And now I will address my people.
Excuse me? Alex, I was in the middle of making a speech. Just let me go.